Like I've got straight from you, Father. God, thank you for everybody that's in this room, every person, every family. Father, I ask God that you would appoint every word that comes out of my mouth tonight, Father. That it would be straight from you to the hearts of the people in this room, God. I know what you've given me, Father. I know it's for somebody that's in this room. I ask you, God, help me deliver it the way that you give it to me. We ask everything you've done in your glory tonight. In the name we pray. Amen. I've ever got the opportunity, he presented the opportunity to me to do anything that I felt could bring glory to him, that I would do it. And that's, you better be careful promising stuff like that, because you're going to get opportunities that you're going to have to follow through on.
That's right.
With stuff like that. So if you don't mean that, don't say it. Because you'll end up playing some out-of-tune piano somewhere in downtown Knoxville. It sounds terrible. Those people, because you said you would. So if you're not all in, you better not say anything like that. So I want to talk to you tonight about something that God laid on my heart, and He laid it on my heart a long time ago. He laid it on my heart 4 weeks ago when I was out of the country. I was on vacation, and I saw something while I was there that started speaking to me then, and He's brought more and more revelation to it as I've gone on. And Nikki, you can put that first picture up. I took this from where we were on vacation. I was in the Virgin Islands, and I was sitting in a Adirondack chair, and this was the first day we were there, and we just got there. We were still finding a room and everything. I was sitting right there. I took this picture, and I mean, it looks like a postcard. It looks like it could be on like a resort website. And I was sitting there, and I got to look at these pictures later, and God spoke something to me a little bit later on in the week about this. But what I really want you to see about this picture is this tree right here. It's a palm tree. And I want you to notice they got wood pushed up against it. And it's just that one. The rest of the palm trees in the picture don't have that. And I got thinking, like, why does that one tree have wood and the other three trees, and there's a bunch of other trees around there too, why do the other trees not have the wood pushed up against it? And so I asked one of the guys there, I said, why do they do that? And there was other trees that had the same thing. And he said, well, it's to force growth in a certain direction. And I've never been like a big gardener or anything, so you guys might have planted a bunch of trees, and this might be a normal thing, but I've never seen this. But he said it's to force growth in a certain direction, so that when we put chairs out and umbrellas and tables and things like that, that shade is created in a certain area for our guests. And so they put these 2x4s, is what it was, and then like nail them to the trees. And so it forces the tree to grow straight up rather than these ones that are further out. It's growing crooked. And I got to thinking about that, and the Lord immediately started working on me with something else for that in a spiritual realm. And I want to talk to you tonight about that palm tree. Palm trees, I did some study, palm trees can grow to be quite large if you're in certain areas of the country and the world. Ours that we see typically in Florida, and when you go on vacation and stuff like that, they're big, but they're not 150 feet tall like some of the ones I saw when I researched. That's a big palm tree, 150 feet tall. So I was researching this, and I got to thinking about palm trees, and I read this little article about how when tsunamis and when hurricanes blow through, they might wipe out everything, but the trees are still there. And I got to looking at why is that? How does that tree move through everything else that this concrete structure doesn't make it through, or a parking deck doesn't make it through, or a hotel, or whatever else it might be? And palm trees grow thousands of little roots down underneath, and they grow them so close together that did the article I read compared it to a toilet brush. All the little bristles that come out the bottom of a toilet brush, and it said there's thousands of them, and they pick up so much soil and so much dirt around those roots that it gets so heavy, and it basically creates a giant ball under the ground of all this dirt and mud and everything around the roots. So when that storm comes, you can't outweigh that ball of roots that's underneath the ground. So it'll snap them off in half, but that root structure will always be there no matter what happens. So that's where I want to start with, and I'm going to tie it in a little bit later. We're going to go to Scripture now, and we're going to start in chapter 17. I'm going to read this because I'll be able to see a lot better up here. Let's go to verse 8. While the people of Israel were still at Rephidim, the warriors of Amalek attacked them. Moses commanded Joshua, "Choose some men to go out and fight the army of Amalek for us. Tomorrow I will stand at the top of the hill, holding the staff of God in my hand." So Joshua did what Moses had commanded, fought the army of Amalek. Meanwhile, Moses, Aaron, and Hur climbed to the top of a nearby hill. As long as Moses held his staff in his hand, the Israelites had the advantage. But whenever he dropped his hand, the Amalekites gained the advantage. Moses' arms soon became so tired he could no longer hold them up. So Aaron and Hur found a stone for him to sit on. They stood on each side of him, holding his hands up. So his hands held steady until sunset. As a result, Joshua overwhelmed the army of Amalek in battle. After the victory, the Lord instructed Moses, "Write this down on a scroll as a permanent reminder and read it aloud to Joshua. I will erase the memory of Amalek from under heaven." Moses built an altar there and named it Yahweh Nissi, which means the Lord is my banner. He said, "They have raised their fist against the Lord's throne, so now the Lord will be at war with Amalek generation after generation." Now, I need a volunteer.
There you go.
Or I can randomly pick someone if you prefer that. Thank you, DJ. Sorry. DJ doesn't know he's
My hair about to be dyed.
No. We're not gonna touch it. So I got to thinking about the scripture, and I was thinking back about that palm tree, about how these boards force this palm tree to grow in a certain way, and it forces the direction to be vertical toward heaven. And as we read this scripture, it talks about Moses having to keep his hands up toward the heavens, and his army prevailed. As soon as he brought it down, then they got taken over. So I want you to raise your hands. Don't put it down until I say put it down. Okay. All right. So during this battle, as I said, as long as Moses stayed in this position, everything went well. As soon as his hands came down for any reason, he got tired, the other army started taking over. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the way war was fought in these days, but it was kind of like a gladiator battle. It was just one-on-one, and I'm just going to cut your head off and then I win. So it wasn't a lot of other things. There's not a lot of weaponry, and there's no guns and arrows and things like that. So it was just a lot of one-on-one, hand-to-hand combat. So if you want to fight people, I think having God on your side is a good thing. So I would want his hands to be raised the entire time if I'm fighting. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
So my head doesn't be the one that comes off. So while this is going on, he's having to hold his hands up. Well, the Bible tells us that he gets tired. Now DJ's not tired yet because he hasn't been holding his hands up very long, and he's sitting in a chair. So in a little bit, DJ's going to get tired. Now, how long do you think it'll take before DJ gets tired? 5 minutes? 10 minutes? How long could you hold your arms up before you really couldn't do it anymore?
3.
He's a wimp, so. Okay, my guess would probably be 10 to 15 minutes before you really start hurting. That'd be my guess. And you got to remember, Moses is like 500 years old when he's doing this too. So he's a little further into his body than DJ is. So holding your arms up for that long is a little different for Moses. Now, what I want to talk to you about is things are going to come your way, and you're going to be forced to make a decision. You're going to be forced to either, in the spiritual realm, keep your hands up and keep fighting and keep the favor of God in your life, or you're going to get to choose, this is too hard, and I'm going to run the other way. There's two choices when you come to a crossroads like this. So Moses knew that, hey, if I drop my hands, all my guys are going to die, and then they're going to come after me because I'm up here on top of the hill by myself with 2 other guys. So I better keep my arms up, or I'm going to be in trouble. Eventually, after they get through all the rest of my guys, I'm going to be the one in trouble. So he had a little personal motivation in this too, to not die. So as EJ's sitting here, I want to talk to you about Galatians 6:9. All right. So let's not get tired of doing what is good. Just say my word for it. I'll read it. at just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. Now, there's no provision in that verse for when things are going wrong, when things are unfair, when the doctor tells you something you don't want to hear, when someone drives their car into your house. That's not in there anywhere. I didn't read that anywhere, that you're allowed to not do good when someone drives their car into your house. I didn't read that. When God allows a loved one to be taken away from you, when God allows your husband or wife to act like a jerk all the time, whatever. When your arms are hurting from some guy asking you to keep them up the whole service, you still have to do good, it says in here. So you see, this isn't just about giving up. This is about who you surround yourself with on a daily basis. And this is about who you allow in your life, and whether or not those people are going to be the ones like Aaron and Hur that came up and held your hands, or they're going to be people that are pulling you away from everything God has for you. And there's a lot of those people. Now, this isn't about whether those people are Christians or they're not Christians. There's going to be Christians that God's going to pull out of your life because they don't need to be there. And you're going to say, well, God, but they're saved. Well, that doesn't mean they need to be in your life. And sometimes that's really hard to understand. And if He removes a so-called Christian from your life or somebody that is a follower, then you have to know ahead of time that it's for your good. And if there's something else at the end that you don't know about yet, you got to trust Him that it's the right time. So, I'm going to give you an example of this. This just happened to me within the last 6 months. I've had a friend I've had since I was like 10 years old. We grew up in church, grew up in school together. For the last 22 years of my life, this guy has been my best friend on this earth, as far as physically on this earth. We grew up and we played sports together. He was in my way, I was in his way. We've done everything together. We've been best friends for 22 years. We started a business a couple years ago together, and God has saw fit in the last 6 months that relationship that I've had for so long with this guy, who believes in the Lord. He's a Christian. If you ask me to gun to my head, I would say he's a Christian. But he is a negative influence in certain areas of my life. And the direction I'm going is not the direction that he's going.
Come on.
The eternal direction that I'm going. It doesn't mean he's not a good guy. It doesn't mean I don't love him. It doesn't mean he's not my best friend. It means that we're going in opposite ways.
That's right.
And I have to make a decision here in the last 6 months that this friend I've had for 22 years, that means more to me probably outside of my family than anybody else in this world does, that I've had to make a decision that he's going a different direction than I am. And I can't follow him or I'm going to get drugged down. And it's been hard. This guy's been around since I was 10 years old. And I don't need to be around him. There's things that he wants me to partake in that I can't partake in and live the way I need to live to be able to do what God has for me to do. Now, like I said, it doesn't mean that he's not saved. It just means that God is removing him from my life because there's something else I should be doing rather than worried about being drugged down by him. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You doing okay?
You need to find her.
Or are they service? Are you telling me that they're hurting? It's sort of,
This is good.
okay. This doesn't mean that these people in your life are bad, necessarily. It doesn't mean they're bad people. If God removed somebody, it doesn't mean that they were a bad person for your life. It just means that God is requiring this from you before you move forward to what He has for you. And this is a step in the process of moving forward in whatever God has for you. And this is probably going to hurt if you go through something like this and you have to let somebody go that you've known for a long time. It's probably going to hurt you. It's going to scar you a little bit because this has been, for me, he's been a part of my life for since I was 10 years old. And I asked God numerous times, God, is this really, I felt it in my spirit that He's pulling me away and we're going in the opposite direction. I thought, God, is this really what you want me to do? This is, I had a lot of friends in school. This is the one friend I have from high school still. The one that's in my life still. I don't have anybody else from school. He's the one guy that's been there the whole time. And there's a lot of emotion that comes comes to the surface when you're doing something like this, and it's, but God, this hurts. And he says, I know, but I've got a plan. But God, this isn't fair. I know, but I've got a plan. But God, you let me suffer through so much. You let me go through all these things that we talked about earlier. I know, but I've got a plan. But God, I can't see the end game. I don't see the end result of what I'm doing right now. I know, but I've got a plan. But God, you said everything will work out for my good. You told me that in your word, that everything you did, no matter how bad it is, no matter how hard it is to go through, that it will work out for my good. I know, but I've got a plan.
Yeah.
But God, I'm serving you and I'm trying to further your kingdom. I know, I've got a plan. And we don't see these because we're human. We have human nature, and we hurt, and we scar, and we don't trust anymore when people do things to us. And all this comes to the surface, and it's easy for me to stand here and say this, but it's a lot harder to walk through the middle of that and say, and listen to that. I know, but I've got a plan. That's easy for me to say. It's a lot harder when you're in the middle of the fire, or you're in the middle of a storm, or you're in the middle of something that you don't understand why God allowed it to happen. Let's be honest. There's things that happen that I don't understand why God allowed it to happen. Okay? And it might not be fair, but if He allowed it, then He's got a plan.
Yeah.
And again, that's easy to say, but when somebody drives their car through your house, I've got a plan isn't really at the forefront of your mind frame. When your brother gets taken out of the world by a drunk driver, what I've got a plan wasn't up here. I was hurt and I was mad and I was angry and I kept saying, God, how could you allow this? How could you allow this to happen to me when I'm walking like I'm supposed to?
Good.
And the answer is because He has a plan. There's going to come a time in your walk with God. And a situation's going to happen. A circumstance is going to hit you. It's going to hit your life. It's going to hit your family. It's going to hit somebody around you that you care about. And you're going to get that line in the same moment where you get to decide, I'm either going forward, I'm raising my hands like DJ is, even though they're probably burning now. Your arms burning? They're burning. He's burning. He's not dropped his hands yet. You get a choice right there that you grab on like that palm tree that's dug in the ground and it's soiled up and it's got this huge ball now, and you get a chance to act like that palm tree and dig in. You can dig in and you can go through, or you can be uprooted. You're going to have a choice to be hurt. You're going to have a choice to be scarred from something that happened to you. You're going to have a choice to be devastated, so devastated that your walk with God isn't worth it anymore.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. It's going to happen. If you keep going forward with God, you're going to get that choice eventually. Then you can go forward, or you can, you know what? It's not worth it. God, it's not worth it. I have paid my dues. I have been through enough. I am not going through another fire, another storm, where I have to lose something else has to be taken. I've got to go through another test. You're going to get that chance if you want to keep going forward with God. What I decided when I got that choice, when my brother died, I remember thinking vividly, very vividly, of being angry, not only at the man that caused it, but being angry at God, being upset that He would allow something to happen. Because it went through Him first. We forget that a lot of times. If it happens to you, it went through Him if you're one of His. I mean, He let it happen to His own Son. We forget that. I'm a parent. There's a lot of parents in this room. If I'm going to let something happen to my kids and I'm around, that means it went through me first. If I had a chance to stop it and didn't, then that means I felt it was okay for them. I wouldn't let them get hurt. I wouldn't let them do something that I thought was going to cause harm. I wouldn't let a bad decision go forward that I thought would do something to them to stop them from moving forward in their life. God is no different with us. He is not going to let something get to you unless He is on board with you getting through to the end. He's not going to cut you short halfway through. He's not going to hang you out to dry halfway in the middle of a circumstance that you can't deal with. He's not going to do it. He's not going to leave you. He's not going to forsake you, just like His Word said. But that's really hard to see sometimes when you're in the middle of all that hurt and all that pain. You get to decide that no matter what comes your way, no matter what's going on, that you're going forward. Regardless of the scars, regardless of the tears you cried, regardless of the emotions you have flowed through you at that time, none of that matters. You get that choice right then and there to move forward. Go ahead and roll that video.
So, Coach, how strong is Westview this year?
How strong are we are?
You already written Friday night down as a loss, bro?
Well, not for that we can beat them.
Come here, bro. You too, Jeremy.
Am I blowing out?
Not yet. I want to see you do the death crawl again, except I want to see your absolute best.
What, you want to go to the 30?
I think you can do the 50.
50. I can go to the 50 if nobody's on my back.
I think you can do it with Jeremy on your back. But even if you can't, I want you to promise me you're going to do your best.
All right.
Your best.
Okay.
You going to give me your best?
I'm going to give you my best.
All right, one more thing. I want you to do it blindfolded.
Why?
Because I want you giving up at a certain point when you can go further. Get down. Jeremy, get on his back. Get a tight hold, Jeremy. All right, let's go, bro. Keep your knees off the ground, just your hands and feet. There you go. A little bit left. A little bit left. There you go. Show me good effort. That way, bro. You keep coming. There you go. It's a good start. A little bit left. A little bit left. There you go, Brock. Good strength. That's it, Brock. That's it. Forget the 20. You give me your best. You keep going. That's it. No, don't stop, Brock. You got more in you than that.
Just rest a second.
You gotta keep moving. Let's keep moving. Let's go. Don't quit till you got nothing left. There you go. Keep moving. Keep moving. Keep moving, Brock. That's it. You keep driving. Keep your knees off the ground. Keep driving. Your very best. Your very best. Your very best. Keep moving, Brock. That's it. That's it. That's it. Keep going. Don't quit on me. Keep going. Keep driving. Keep driving. Keep your knees off the ground. That's it. Your very best. Don't quit on me. Your very best. Keep driving. Keep driving. There you go. There you go. That's it. You keep driving. Keep your knees off the ground. Keep driving. Don't quit till you got nothing left. Keep moving, Brock. That's it. That's it. That's it. Keep going. I want everything you got. Come on, keep going. Hurts. Don't quit on me. Your very best. Keep driving. Keep driving. There you go. I know it hurts. You keep going. You keep going. It's all hard from here. 30 more steps. You keep going, Brock. Come on. Keep going. Burn. And let it burn. It's all hard. You keep going, Brock. Come on. Come on. Keep going. You're back. Don't stop. Keep going. It's not too hard. You keep going. Come on, Brock. Give me more. Give me more. Keep going. 20 more steps. 20 more. Keep going, Brock. Give me your best. Don't quit. No. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Don't quit. Don't quit. Don't quit. Brock Kelly, you don't quit. Keep going. Keep going. Go, Brock Kelly. You don't quit on me. Now you keep going. You keep going. Go, Brock. 10 more steps. 10 more. 10 more. 10 more. Keep going. Don't quit. Give me your heart. You can. You can. 5 more. 5 more. Come on, Brock. Come on. Don't quit. Don't quit. Come on, Brock. 2 more. 1 more. waste it.
Coach,
Can I count on you? Yes.
coach,
What is it, Jeremy?
I weigh 160.
All right. Who next?
All right, if you guys both stand up. You can kill these lights up here.